Okay, I'm going to keep this brief, because I have fans waiting for actual content, and this isn't important because it's just one dick misinforming a bunch of people that at times he misinforms anyway, so it's not like this is any different. But this is way more of a personal insult than usual. Welcome to my video on the topic of where's the fair use. So right at the beginning, he deflects the blame from Google, the people who set up the current system, to Bill Clinton.
And the answer as to why it's so broken, why it's so easy to abuse, is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. The DMCA, signed into law by Bill Clinton in 1998, it makes it so that there's limited liability for an online company like YouTube if their users break copyright.
Now, ignoring the people that have no clue about the mathematics of logic that do indeed prove my last statement, whether or not he meant to, he did indeed say that, we have to ask why even mention who signed it. Never has the discussion of an act that has ever been put into place ever needed the person who signed it to be involved, because breaking news tip for you, rarely have they ever had any meaningful impact on that act. Or you could be bringing up the point of why it was signed into law, but again, the person who signed it really doesn't matter outside of being the beginning of the crumb trail. As a random and not real example, because there is a real trail, but I'm too lazy to spend my time on this needless video, Clinton's golf buddy works at Sony. Bam, there's the tree of the conspiracy. The point is, no one actually delving into this would actually stop at Clinton and assume he's the grand machinator behind the DMCA. So we have to come to one of two conclusions. Either Sexy Phil or the person writing his script is profoundly stupid, or at the very least purposely obtuse, or he's deflecting for Google, and guess who Fiddly D works for. But let's forget about him and let's see why this being associated with the DMCA is also stupid. Outside of the fact that there are a bunch of other websites that do the exact same thing that YouTube does, and yet they don't have the same problems. So the first thing that tipped me off outside of the Clinton thing was how weird the wording of his quote was. And the fact that it was so oddly cropped and completely unsighted really bothered me as well. Way to be professional. So I found its equivalent in the actual DMCA, and just like I remembered, there is nothing enforcing what Google is doing. What it says is that there needs to be a system in place in order for actual copyright infringement to be removed by the copyright holder. Nothing in this document says that Google has to make it automated. Nothing says there has to be a 30-day time limit to respond to any of the counterclaims. And there being no penalty for the false claims goes against the very message of the DMCA, because in there it states that if you have been sued while a claim holder knows that you have fair use, you will be awarded the damages that was caused by that lawsuit. So this makes me think that the DMCA has very little influence on the current ID system. So now we have to discuss the extremely stupid idea of what does "where's the fair use" means. It means where's the fair use, meaning, and this is the complicated part, why is Google actively ignoring all of its users' fair use rights? Meaning, this entire thing has nothing to do with copyright at all. From even before the first time I started complaining about the system, from all those years ago where Viacom was constantly taking people's videos down even without any claim to them sometimes, this always has been and always will be corporations abusing YouTube content ID systems in order to manipulate and control free speech and their product's image. Which is a scary image by itself, but it's also a wonderful example of that good old fascism I'm always talking about. So there you go. My highly unnecessary video on the topic of where's the fair use, and another mild discrediting of a person who I'm only subscribed to because without him I would have no clue what's going on in the real world, outside of the deep politics that is slowly controlling and killing us all. So now I go back to talk about how shitty Ruby is, and how fascist they and Fullscreen are, and attempt to forget about this pointless video.